So, it all comes down to this moment. Let's find out who the nation has chosen as the winner. Good luck to both of you. America has voted. The winner of the $1 million and the star of the headline show in Las Vegas is... Franco! Wow! Congratulations! Great job! How's it feel?
Unfreaking believable.
And ladies and gentlemen, let's keep it going. For Emily West, she's hugging. How has this experience been for you, Miss West?
This has been the most unbelievable experience. Thank you, AGT. Thank you, Matt Franco, for winning and taking on the world. I'm very honored, and thank you so much for having me on your beautiful show. It changed my life.
Keep it going for her, ladies and gentlemen. So amazing. And America, make that noise one more time for your winner, Matt Franco.
Thank you so much.
You just saw him, guys, and here he is now with me in Las Vegas. Matt Franco, how we doing, man?
Good. How are you?
I am doing great. Thanks for hanging out with me today for a bit, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks to you.
Awesome, man. So as we saw, people are saying, I wonder who won. It's definitely Matt Franco, as we all know. Matt with one T.
That's right.
Yes. So you are now living in Vegas. You are not originally from here. You are from the East Coast, just like me.
Yes.
And we've migrated out west. You for a very different reason, for a very good reason.
Yeah.
You won the show. You won America's Got Talent, the first magician to ever do so.
Yeah.
What's life been like for you since winning the show?
It was a big epiphany, right? It's almost like life before it versus life after it. A big change, but at the same time, in a way, it's not that big of a change because to me, my goal was to do magic full time. And I had succeeded in that a few years before winning the show. So the minute that I was able to support myself doing magic full time, making a living, I had already made it. Done, plain and simple. So I was super happy about that. And then winning the show, it just kind of catapulted me into a stratosphere that I didn't expect to be part of. But wow, it's really cool to be part of it because it's just motivation to work harder and put better magic out there, just to continue trying to better our art as best I can.
Love it. I mean, you've been out here now for a while. How long have you been doing the show at the Link?
I've been at the Link 4.5 years. This August will be 5 years. Yeah.
Oh, man. Time flies, huh?
It sure does. It's been amazing. We've done over 1,500 shows.
Wow.
And wow, it's like you learn a lot every time you're on stage. It's like being on stage. It's like a classroom for me. It's a show for the audience, but it's a classroom for me because I think experience is the best teacher. So.
Hey, man, well said.
Yeah, 90 minutes a show. It's a lot of stage time. Yeah. But a little bit when you compare to someone like Lance Burton who did like 15,000 shows. So really, I do feel like a beginner, even though I've been in magic for 25 years. It's like it's such it's cumulative, this magic thing. So like the longer you do it, the better you get, I guess. But
it's the only way, man. The only way.
Yeah. I hope I look back 5 years from now and be like, wow, I didn't know anything.
Well, I want to let the guys know too. If you have any questions, I've got a few lined up for Matt. If you guys have any questions for him too along the way, don't be shy. He's here to hang out with me for about 20 minutes or so. Try to get to your questions too. One of the things that I noticed, I don't remember how many years ago it was, though, that you actually now have it called the Matt Franco Theater, which is so badass, man. That is so cool.
It's really, it is great. In fact, it even won Best Venue in Vegas this year for like the Best of Vegas Awards.
Awesome.
Probably just a bunch of nonsense. However, it is pretty cool to have your own room like that. But it really spoils you. I used to pride myself on being able to walk into any situation. The old Jeff McBride commando act type thing where you could walk into anywhere and do a great show. And it is kind of like riding a bike. I think I can still sort of do that a little bit, but it's harder when you're so used to your room every night exactly as you expect it to be.
Yeah, I noticed too. A little while back, you had a bar that you were opening up to go along with the showroom, and you ended up
Yep.
naming some of the drinks. We got magicians watching, and of course, a lot of your fans too. But what did you end up landing on with some of those magic themed drinks? I never heard the final list. So
I don't think we even got the final list done yet. The name of the bar, we called it Magic on Tap.
Love
But
it.
in terms of like specific specialty drinks, I don't even think those are finalized yet.
Okay.
Got
Got
it
it.
shows you how quickly things move.
Well, yeah, you're also extremely busy, and as I mentioned before, you moved to Las Vegas for all of this madness. What's it like? We both live in Vegas, but for you, it's different. You have a show. What is it like living in Las Vegas as a headliner on the Strip? I mean, that's wild, dude.
Yeah, I love Vegas. Vegas is a great place to be. I'm the type of person that I go where work takes me.
Sure.
Vegas isn't something I chased down. It's an opportunity that came up. So I figured I would try it out and ended up loving it more than I realized I would. And Vegas is a great place. The weather's a lot better than what I'm used to. We don't have snow, but if you want to see snow, it's about a 45-minute drive up to Mount Charleston, which I just went to for a night during this past week.
Nice.
So I love it. It's a really cool place to be and a really cool place to work, and way more magicians around here, which is cool, and magic
Very
conventions here, which is cool.
Yep.
It's a great place to study.
And I
Believe
had
it or
this
not.
queued up. Had this queued up too. This must be really surreal for you or weird. Maybe it's not. Maybe you're just like, oh yeah, that. I had this queued up. The Matt Franco blackjack table. That is rad, man. That's really cool.
It's strange, right? Between the gaming pits, the taxi cabs, the buses, even just the link itself, the whole front of the building is this. So sorry you guys have to see that if you're at Caesar's Palace and look across the street. But yeah, it's really wild. I thought maybe it would blend into the white noise eventually, but it's still surreal.
Yeah, it's definitely a very surreal place to live, kind of in general, really, isn't it? It's just and I like it too. As a local, I noticed that Matt's also plugged himself into a lot of community events. I know that you were doing some of the stuff with the Opportunity Village, with some of the stuff during the holidays. The dogs, I noticed that, the costume contest and stuff. So it's cool to see you out and about and immersing yourself in the community too. So that's always cool.
Yeah, I love being part of it. It really is a great community vibe. The Vegas Nights have helped with that. Really kind of brought everybody together. It's just it's a cool place to be.
Yes, it is. We've got a question coming in, and I'm glad you guys are starting to ask some. This is cool. This comes YouTube. Yes, YouTube.
Sweet.
Dane Smith. I'll bring it up here for everyone else to see. Hi, Matt. We were coming to see you in February. What would you say best describes your show at the Link? Good question. Yeah.
It's interesting enough. Some magicians were at the show this past week, and they said there was a lot of stuff in it that they felt that you would only see at a magic convention. They're like, it's really cool. It's like they weren't expecting it to be, expecting me to appear as a magician's magician, which I never tried to be either. Mm-hmm. So apparently it's something that I guess does appeal to magicians. But it's interactive. I consider it to be parlor style. There are illusions, there is close-up, but I think for the longest period of time, I've been in what we call in magic parlor style magician, yes, which is kind of that in between. A lot of interactive stuff, a fair amount of actual improvisation, actual ad libs, in addition to planned ones as well. And parlor style is the answer. Yeah.
Wait. All right. I saw this too. This is just a little bit of love for you. We've got people watching from all over the world. This is my buddy Dylan Murray from across the pond.
Hi, Dylan.
He says, hello to Matt. Hope you're keeping well, man. You're incredible, and it's a pleasure to watch you perform, especially with your top class personality and presentation. That is your real magic. Hope to catch your show at the theater. So the one common thread that I've always seen about you is just your likability. When you're
thanks.
On stage, you definitely own it. And people notice it. And here's a fellow magician also saying that too. So there you go.
No, I really appreciate that. And, I think it's really important, and I think that's just, I think it's something I learned a lot from Bill Malone,
oh, wow,
for example, because, he's just from watching him, and he's incredibly talented technically. But he's so funny and so entertaining that I think oftentimes he's even underrated with how great he really is technically because he's so entertaining and because he's so funny. And I know that he really emphasizes first and foremost to be entertaining. And I think that those words kind of sunk in since a young age for me. So I think I learned a lot of that from Bill and trying to be entertaining for people.
And you also had one of the best ever, by your side for the longest time too, Johnny Thompson, God rest his soul.
Yes.
There with you, which it's amazing.
Yeah, no, I got to study with Johnny for just a short amount of time, 4 years, so when I had first come out here. And Johnny is actually the person who introduced me to Bill.
Oh, wow.
Which is really cool. Nice. And, both have been super kind to me. And it's been very helpful to learn from people that really know what they're doing. When I was growing up, I didn't even know a single magician really, so it was like, and I didn't even know which books to get, which videos to get, where to learn from. So I picked up a lot of bad habits along the way simply by trying to learn from watching on videos. Sure. So I learned a lot of things, even basic things, I think, incorrectly. And Johnny helped really point that out. And I was like, wow, okay, I gotta relearn some of this stuff. And he helped me with a lot of it. And I couldn't be more thankful for it because he kind of helped me fall back in love with the close-up side of magic. A lot of people always, just from television, they assume I'm a close-up magician. As I said, more parlor, but I've, in the past 4 years, I think partially because of Johnny, perhaps a big part of the reason I've really fallen back in love with close-up too. Nice. Even though I don't get to do it professionally very often.
Right. Cool, man. Here's a good question from someone that's looking for some advice specifically on the Got Talent series. And obviously you know a thing or two about that.
Too much.
Jack Does Magic, our YouTube friend over here, says, I auditioned for Britain's Got Talent. It's a little different, but it's the same idea.
Yes.
What are your tips if I get on? So, wow, that's a good question.
Yeah, I think you just take your best. This is my approach, and it doesn't mean it'll work for everybody, and I'm sure other people have different approaches. Sure. But my advice is whatever your best idea is, lead with that. Don't save anything because you might not be there the next week to share whatever that is that you think you're saving. Mm-hmm. So whatever your best idea is, do that now. And if you go through, worry about outdoing yourself later.
Right on. Well said. Yeah, there's no guarantees with TV, huh? There's no guarantees you'll be there the next week to bring the goods. So yeah, it's very good advice. For you, did you go into it like with any? I mean, obviously everyone goes on, they want to win, but did you have like an expectation when you went on the show, or was it you just wanted to do it because it was something that you felt like, you were interested in doing just in general?
I was mainly only interested in it in hopes of getting some good video footage.
PR stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just trying to get, because it's really hard to, hire people to film your shows, and audio's half the battle, and
wow.
you need good footage. You need good footage to book more shows. So I thought, well, TV footage would help. So I thought even if I can just get, a 20-second clip, then that would be helpful to me. And just kept getting voted through, and having to kind of outdo myself the following week. So it was really, winning wasn't even a consideration. I mean, that wasn't even on my mind at all.
Now, as a little segue here, speaking, to the point at the end of it that you did win, I mentioned to you before this that I've got I opened this with the announcement of you winning that season of AGT. I've got it queued up again without the sound, and I would love to try a little experiment with you. I'd love to bring you up on the screen and walk us through what's going through your head while he's talking and while you're on stage looking out in this audience of people that are, screaming your name and wanting you to win. Do you mind if we do that? I think it'd be kind of fun.
Do not mind. I don't know if I can succeed, but I'll give it a shot.
All right, cool. So I have got this queued up. So here we go. Matt Franco talking about Matt Franco winning America's Got Talent.
All right, let's see where we're at here.
Go for it. There you go.
All right, so now I'm nauseous. Probably hearing I'm trying to look at the card here. You see that? I'm trying to look at the card in his hand. I'm like, oh, can I see a name on there yet? I'm thinking, oh, this is a really long pause here. All right.
Yeah, dude, they really milked this moment, didn't they?
And I'm going, oh, I can't believe it's just two of us left. Maybe I do have a chance now. I think I peek as soon as he opens that card. I'm looking, and I have I have bad hearing but good vision, so I could see my name on the card maybe a split second before he read it. And I think at that moment my mind exploded, just like the fireworks behind me. If you watch closely, as soon as he opened it, look where my eyes go. Yep, and I looked away right after I saw it. Yep. I looked away like, nope, I'm not looking. But that was the moment I knew.
That is so awesome, dude.
But up until then, I didn't see it.
Can't even imagine. I can't even begin to imagine. Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah,
It's a life changer, man. It really is.
Yeah, and it's even more surreal than I'm actually talking to you, because I was watching that too, and here we are, and it's like, yeah, it's crazy, and it's really, really nice to see that Magic now too has become more plugged into the show, because as the first magician to ever do it, you broke through. That is like the breakthrough for us as magicians to like.
I know. I'm happy to hear you say that. You know, it was always about doing things on that show that were bigger. It was like, oh, well, who has the biggest box, you know? And
Right.
I just went at it with the opposite approach. I also got to give a shout out to Eric Diddleman, because he was the first person from the Magic world that, at least that aired, that was able to approach the judges' table. And that opened the doors for all of us. He had done that on season 7, which was, I was 9. It was 2 before me, but he was the first person to approach the judges' table and do something close up, which opened a whole new world for Magic on the show. And I was able to exploit that by doing something that way in almost every round, and then also adding a bigger element to it on stage to give it scale also. So, you know, giving Magic a proper platform on that show is something that has done well for us in Magic, which I'm very, very happy for.
Yeah, man, it's an awesome thing to have us, you know, plugged into that same, respected world as all the other artistic art forms out there.
Absolutely, yeah. Magic is a dense art form, and it deserves respect.
Well said.
When it's done well.
Yeah. Here's a question popping in from the Facebook.
Okay.
Clint says, I got to see Matt's show first time in Vegas last year and got pulled on stage. That's fun. For someone like me who does Magic as a hobby, it was a great experience to be a spectator on his stage, and we'll never forget it. So that's cool, man.
So cool. Yeah, you know, and I think that's an important thing for all of us, right? When you bring your participants on stage, they should have the time of their life.
Yep.
You know, they shouldn't be talked down to or degraded or made to feel embarrassed. I mean, a lot of times even if they do raise their hand, they do freeze up and get embarrassed because they're not comfortable with being on stage. And I've become so much more sympathetic towards audience participants, just realizing that, you know, they don't necessarily know what they're doing up there. So you have to go out of your way to make them feel comfortable, and you have to be comfortable yourself, because they can sense it if you're uneasy. So they're not used to being up there. So if they say, you know, 9 times out of 10, you can predict what they're going to do and say if you've done it enough. But there are times when they don't, and you have to still respect that and understand they might not be doing something to be malicious. They just simply don't know how to behave always in that scenario because they don't do it every day. So it's just important. Audience participation is a huge thing that I could talk about, I feel like, for an hour itself. So,
well, I've only got you for like a few more minutes, so we'll have to
so we'll change topics. But yeah, anyway, thanks for coming on stage and being part of that. I appreciate it.
That's awesome, dude. Here's another great little comment. Then I've got another question or two for you. Tyler Lunsford says, I saw Matt's second show ever at the Link. Great show. If anyone's in Vegas, go see Matt. Where do you get inspiration for developing new routines? So he's giving you some love, and then he's got a question. So inspiration for developing.
I think it comes. Well, first of all, I appreciate the compliments. I like to think that the show is 100 times better than the second show I ever did there, but I'm glad that you liked it. Let's see. Inspiration can come from anywhere. It could happen when you're sitting on the couch watching nothing. It can happen when you're in the shower driving. It can happen just from things you see in pop culture outside of the world of magic. It can come from an old idea you see in a magic book. I don't know if there's a recipe. I don't always do things in the same order. I don't always start with the ending I want and work backwards. I don't always start from the beginning and find the end. It just kind of is one of those things where it has to almost happen organically. For me, it's a pretty slow process. It's not something that happens quickly. It's something that I have to be patient with. And then even when you have the great idea, making it come to fruition isn't always easy. And then even once you find the method, it's not always easy to execute it in a way that's entertaining and fun and works. Or maybe it's not deceptive. I mean, there's any slew of problems or challenges to overcome throughout the process. So it really is just case by case. But I think preparation is the key. The more techniques you know, the more you'll be able to apply those to different concepts you have. So I think it's just about studying up, and when that idea comes, you hopefully can make it happen.
Here's one other little extension of that from Phil. He wants to know, does AGT help you come up with ideas or help make the tricks better? So do you have any help with that from their end?
At the time I was there were no, magic consultants of any kind. I don't know if they have that now. I don't think so. The ideas came from me, and they want to approve or not approve based on, you'll pitch a few and they'll say, well, we like this one the best.
Got
And they'll certainly give helpful guidance and things like that. But, the core, I think, has to come from what you're trying to present. And it also, I think, makes less work for them, which is probably, makes them happy too.
Yeah. Obviously, what happens with these ideas is you end up creating a show, which you have a show here on the Vegas Strip. That's got to be just the most awesome thing ever. I've got one of the ads for it kind of queued up here, and I'd love for you to kind of talk people through what the show is, not necessarily what the show is, but what's it about? It's a Matt Franco show, but what does that mean, to people that have never seen it before? So I'm going to run that if you'd like to kind of let them know what your show's all about.
Sure. And it's hard to capture in a commercial,
Yeah.
What you don't see in the commercial is my connection with the audience. You see some elements of production because it is a full stage production. But what it's missing is the thing that you can only experience in person. The part of it that makes each show feel special. When you're in the room, I mean, the way our finale works in the show, it's different every show. Every single show has a different ending based on what happens throughout the show. So, when you come and see it, you really are witnessing something that will never happen again. Kind of like if you go to an improv show of any kind, you're going to witness something that will never happen again. And our finale, at least, is certainly that way. And many parts throughout the show are that way too, just because there's so much audience stuff. Yeah. So if nothing else, for magicians, I think it's hopefully a little bit of a lesson in audience management and things like that. I mean, I don't want to sound like I think I'm some kind of authority on it, but I do just have a lot of flight time of doing it. It really is just it's all about connection for me. I love what I do, and I feel like I hope that the audience can feel that, and I can feel their reciprocity as well. And it's this thing that we build together. At least that's what I aim for. I want them to laugh. I want them to have fun. I also want them to go, wow, and really just be surprised. I want to take them through those emotions they feel when they see a movie or whatever. And but I get to be there and see it, So
as someone that's been in the audience, it's definitely the energy in the room is definitely there. And it's as a magician, I know you said that not necessarily being an authority on it, that's you being modest too, because as someone that is on a stage doing the type of stuff that you're doing and having it play to that type of audience, like a big audience too, you've got a big room. I mean, that's a lesson right there. So for anyone coming out to Las Vegas, to any of the conventions, we got a lot of magicians watching. Magic Live's coming up this summer. I'm assuming you'll be performing around that time, yeah? So people are coming out for that, or? Yeah,
we're on. I don't know the exact dates of Magic Live, but we're usually on around that time, yeah.
Right on, cool. And then next weekend with the SAM convention, I'm assuming there'll be some shows around that too, yeah? The
Yes.
Yep, cool.
Yes, we will be on during all of that. Do you know the dates of Magic Live by chance? You
I
don't
can
know?
look for you real quick.
Oh, I was just curious if you knew.
It won't take me but just a second here. Magic Live
I love to
2020.
stop by, and see those things.
The dealer room's fun. It's a fun.
It's so much fun. There's so much crazy stuff.
Looks like the 2nd through the 5th of August is Magic Live. So
Gotcha. I'm not 100% sure. But look, when you do come out to Vegas, come and see the show. It's a lot of fun.
yes, it is. We'll take one more question and then we'll start to wrap up. How's that sound? Is that all right?
That sounds okay to me.
Cool, man. Appreciate you. Dave is coming in from Facebook. He says he saw and met Matt a couple years ago. Question is, does having a Vegas show make it difficult to take your show on the road? So, yeah, you do this all the time here, but if you want to get booked somewhere else, is it tough to take that and paste it somewhere else, or parts of it somewhere else?
It's kind of like what I was saying before. You can get spoiled going to work just a few minutes away, as opposed to flying in and all of that, because travel comes with a lot of, it's tiring. I love to travel personally, so it doesn't bother me. But also just doing the show as often as I do, and working in front of audiences as much as I do, in a way it makes it easier too, because there's so much practice and that's already there. So I enjoy doing it on the road. I enjoy doing it here in Vegas. Like I said, I go wherever work takes me. Either way, you gotta do it. So it doesn't matter if it's harder or easier. At the end of the day, the show must go on.
Well said. There was another quote that I'm going to throw up as we start to wrap up here. My boy Jonathan Friedman says something that I was going to bring up to you earlier, but why not? He has the quote, "You're the best around."
I was in where was I? Seattle, and I met Jonathan. I literally bumped into, hi Jonathan. I bumped into a magic shop.
Oh yeah.
Strolling around in Seattle, and Jonathan was there, and was kind enough to spend some time, and he showed me some stuff he was working on, and showed me his book that he came out with and all that. And that quote, I think you know what it means, Luke.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's a reference to a song.
Yes.
A song from the movie Karate Kid.
Yes. Cobra Kai for life.
Cobra Kai never dies.
Yes. And you actually got to play guitar with the guy that wrote the song too, which is pretty rad. You actually got
I
to
did.
that
It's
was
Joe
cool.
Esposito. And that's how it came up. Jonathan told me he was a big fan of 80s and 80s movies and things like that. And I said, "Oh, do you know the song 'You're the Best Around'?" He goes, "Oh, by Joe Esposito?" I mean, he literally fired it off like that. So I knew he would appreciate the video, so I showed him a little clip.
Yeah, dude, that rocked. Yeah, I'm all about the retro stuff too, but that's for another day. That's for another.
That is for another day. That is. We could do another hour on that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I know you got a busy day. I know you've got a lot going on out here, so I'm gonna let you go ahead and get out of here. But before we do, I want to say thank you, of course, for popping on, taking some questions from me and from the guys watching.
Of course. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Definitely appreciate you, man. And as Matt said, if you come to Vegas, make sure to check out his show. You're at the Link Hotel and Casino. Yeah, check it out. He is bringing the goods, and definitely one of the guys representing Magic in a very, very strong and a very positive way. So we all appreciate
thank
that.
you.
Yeah.
Thanks very much. I appreciate you saying that.
No, it's true, man. It's very true. Cool. Well, I'm going to let you go, and the rest of you guys go too. So from me and Matt Franco, hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And
cheers.
We'll catch you next time. Cheers, guys. See ya.
Thank you.